What is with me? Recognizing a small problem in the office, I decided to make it good. I decided to fix it. And I really fixed it. I now have an air filter that could clean out the underworld. Again, why am I like this? Why the overkill? I'll say one thing, though. Things are pretty nice in here now. This is Jason Scott Talks His Way Out of It, a podcast about technology, history, and getting myself out of debt. Thanks to Jeff Atwood and the hundreds of other supporters on Patreon and elsewhere who have been supporting me and helping me get out of debt. Assembling everything out of my past and all of my commitments and different papers and discs and materials means that I'm in a windowless room, the way I like it. There's all sorts of old things, old paper, old plastic, old rubber. That means that to somebody who walks in, it's going to smell weird, old. And there's a set of solutions you can do. One of them is to use these small charcoal bags sold at Home Depot and other home improvement stores, where you have charcoal inside of a bag, and that charcoal in a bag gets all of the smells out of a location. You put them out in the sun, they recharge, and you start again. Another way is some sort of air filter. And I had an air filter that was the standard $50 or $60 one that you could buy and put in a corner of the room. And I think it was doing its job. But then I thought, maybe we really need to do the job. Here I enter into a loop where I start looking up solutions, not really thinking about cost or convenience, but instead saying, what's the best? What's the best they make? And from that curiosity comes an education. When it comes to a device or a tool or a set of tools, you find out what the okay versions are, what the expensive versions are, and what the ridiculous ones are. The ridiculous thing to do is to replace the entire cooling and filtering system in the building. Not my choice, not going to happen. But the other thing you can do is acquire a professional piece of equipment that's a little bit overkill, but gets the job done in a way without compromise. So I did that. I researched and I ended up buying something called a Trax purifier, TRACS. And this purifier really gets the job done. I might as well go into its features. It's a small white box. It's maybe the size of a mini fridge. You plug it in, it has settings, and when you turn it up to full, it can go through a 3,000 square foot house in about an hour. The demonstration video on the site has it in a glass cube, and they set off smoke bombs, and the smoke bombs are completely filtered out within a couple minutes. In other words, if it's in the air, if it's floating out there, it's going to be handled. It's going to go away with this device. Sure, it's expensive, but it's great. Ordering it was very efficient, and it was on its way in almost no time at all. The documentation talks about introducing it to a location, putting it out, letting it run for about a day, and then turning it down to something called whisper quiet, which it is not. It is not whisper, it is not quiet, but it's still doing its filtration job. From here, ostensibly, my air is better. I have a monitor in this office for carbon dioxide, which I use to make sure that I have a healthy environment for me, but I'm not currently tracking particulate matter yet. So I have to assume this is doing its job. It sure feels like it. It feels like it's getting the job done in a efficient, perhaps overkill sort of way. But pulling back, why am I like this? Why, instead of just buying a couple more filters or finding one slightly better than what was there before, I went for the top of the line? I think ultimately it comes from being in a place where I used to not have things that I really, really wanted when I was young. I would look at something, I would realize the inherent quality, the inherent superiority of a product or a place or a vocation even, and I would not be able to get it. I wouldn't have the means, the ability, the pull to get those things. And as I get older and I look at the world, I realize my time in it comes shorter and shorter, and compromise, where it doesn't make sense to compromise, is not the way to go. I'm doing a run here. I am doing a run through all of the items in this office, the thousands of pieces of paper and floppy disks, many of them decades old at this point. Things that I kept in a storage unit, in a shipping container, in my own bedroom, across decades. And it's time for them to give up their secrets for one last performance, turning them digital and then getting them online and then storing the items permanently away where I may never see them again. And as they're opened, they betray that age, that aging that comes from being unused for so long. That is where I am. And at that moment, the air fills, literally fills, with history. But people could notice that. I'm fine with it. I live among it. But guests could tell. There's a term out there, petrichor, for old paper. That is a natural expectation of old paper. And floppy disks and cassettes and video cassettes and boxes and plastic containers, they all also have smells. They also release old gases and particulate matter. So it made sense to do this. It might not have made sense to go this hard. But now, luck has favored me. At this age, I have achieved so much with the help from many others, from luck, from opportunity, and I'm able to say, this is not where I'm going to compromise. It's a health issue. It's an issue of my lungs not breathing in things I may not recognize as damaging. It's keeping my energy up because the CO2 is down and because air is clean here and everything is just nice. Once, I had a beautiful scanner that I was using to scan books, but it was located in a room where the average temperature was 50 degrees, and that really, really made it hard for me to use that scanner. It just actually represented a health risk. I was coughing all the time. I was feeling my energy low because it wasn't a place of working comfortably. Now, at this point, I'm so lucky to have this place, this location, this staging area to get things done. And I'm moving so fast because every day that I'm here, I fill it with accomplishment, with work, and now with fresh, cool, filtered air. This beautiful little toy, this wonderful little utility will soon fade. It'll end up in the back of the room, doing its job, completely forgotten, like a microwave or any other appliance. It just works. It's just part of the scenery. Before this moment, I've reminded myself that taking care of myself by going a little extra in matters of health, of workplace safety, of time allocation, and removal of stress means that I'm buying myself time. And time, normally, is priceless indeed. This is Jason Scott Talks His Way Out of It, thanks to James Bekoyanu, Ernie Hershey, Michael Rubin, David Fisher, Sean Kelly, Trixie the Cat, Sembiance, Benjamin Gutz, and Anonymous, along with the hundreds of other supporters on Patreon and elsewhere who have been supporting me and helping me get out of debt. I came off what has turned out to be my third bout of COVID, and my throat's a little bit rough. But I hope a good air filter will mean that the recovery is that much quicker.